Good morning and welcome to the top 10 data trends for 2023 webinar from Biztory. We will start in a few moments once we get to the 10 o'clock my time, 11 o'clock CET. Just going to let a few more people join. Speak to you soon. Good morning and welcome to the top 10 data trends for 2023 webinar from Biztory. We're just going to give it another couple of minutes for a few more people to join and then we'll get started. Okay, then I think that's time to get started. So, good morning. Welcome to the Top 10 Data Trends for 2023 webinar from Biztory. Thank you for joining me this morning. Who am I? Hi, my name is Chris Dixon. I am currently the head of product at Biztory, where it's my job to make sure the services that we provide as a data consultancy are in line with what's needed in the industry. It's also my job to make sure that we as a consultancy are working with the right tools and technology partners to ensure our customers are successful in their data literacy journeys. With 25 years now working in data, I've seen plenty of trends come and go, and some quite rightfully have stuck around. Also, I just want to apologize. I'm currently recovering from a bit of a horrible Christmas virus. So my camera is most definitely off, but you do get to enjoy some unusually deep tones in my voice. I've definitely got a voice for radio right now. And one other little bit of housekeeping. My colleague Aaron is on the call. He will be monitoring the Q&A and chat, but I don't believe I'll have time to answer them, any questions on the call, but we're more than happy to log questions and come back to you with answers afterwards, as we'll know who it is that's asked them and what your contact details are because you've registered. Okay, so let's get going. The aim of this webinar this morning is to introduce a number of topics that people are searching for more and more on the web. They're contacting us for support in understanding them and helping them move along their thinking and their journeys around data usage in their businesses. Some of these, as I've said, are not new. They've been around for a while, but they're still relevant. Some are conceptual rather than physical or practical, and they range from things that every business should be doing up to what I would call the definitely optional but potentially powerful uses of data. When I was asked to do this webinar, I first thought was, I really don't want to talk about each of these in isolation because they don't work in isolation. That's just not how a data pathway or a data journey works. So I decided to go a different way and use some customer stories. So this is Laura. Laura is a chief data officer who has taken their company on the journey from having data to using and leveraging data as much as possible. Their journey has required them to win the hearts and minds of their entire business to believe in their vision of being a data-driven organization. They've revolutionized the data platform and started to look into novel data uses. But where did they start? So Laura started in an organization that will be very familiar to anyone that works in the data world. The organization had various departments. They're of different sizes with different skill levels in the use of data. The majority looked after at least one business critical system that collected data. As this estate has grown up over time and wasn't procured all at once, there's a mixture of cloud-based SaaS solutions and some that ran on-prem in the basement on their HQ. Each of these teams analyze data in isolation, requesting and receiving extracts, probably in Excel, probably via email, and from all the various other parts of the business. But what that comes down to is knowing the right person who has the right data that you need to enhance your data. It leads to a lot of manual effort, disjointed, siloed working. External data feeds go to one team, external data feeds go to two separate teams, but used in completely different ways. Multiple teams providing reports externally to customers, suppliers, regulators, and everyone is using their own definitions and completely independent processes. So the first thing that Laura needed to focus on. So you'll notice I've got my 10 trends down the side here. I'm not going to attack them in order. I'm going to talk about them in the order in which I feel they work as a journey. So the first part of this journey was to build a culture of data within the business. This means taking on a series of change management projects. Those projects focused on enabling and empowering the business in the use of data to drive decisions and, more importantly, action. So what do I mean by enable and empower? Enablement, providing teams with the data, of course, providing them with the tools and training to use those tools. Empowerment, giving people the confidence to do the analysis they need to do, the confidence that they won't break the platform, confidence that the data is correct and it won't change, at least not without good reason. By giving people confidence, you empower them to use the tools, the techniques, the data that you're providing them. Now, I see data culture talked about as if it's this easily defined thing. My experience over the last quarter century is that it's unique to every business I've worked with. Culture in itself is a very personal thing. It's built up from the individuals in a group. So to say that culture is easily defined is a mistake. Having a defined shared set of values and a vision that everyone agrees with and is willing to get on board with is a great start. Allaying people's fear of change, inspiring people to change and to move forward by sharing successes. This is how we grow a culture. Now, there are steps. There are known steps that work to help you drive and generate culture within a business. But you should think of these as headers. Headers that you need to then define for yourself within your business. I think the main thing is understanding your people, their fears and what motivates them, and then build a culture that pushes the right buttons for your team, for your business. Just fill out that project plan, use those headers that everyone knows. What does community look like? What does a training environment look like? What does the tool set look like? What does the platform look like? Understand that for your business, and then start to fill out your culture plan. So Laura has started to define what culture is for their business. Let's start with what I think is one of the most important steps, the platform. The first practical step for enabling your staff, procuring a platform that allows them to work together, to collaborate on data. Now, procurement of a modern data stack built to leverage the cloud. Clearly, that's going to be what we're talking about here. We've got the moving workloads to the cloud and the modern data stack as our two trends. So moving workloads to the cloud, that could simply mean moving those systems that are currently on-prem in your data center into a cloud hosted infrastructure. Does this fix or revolutionize things? No, it does fix the problem of hardware maintenance, disaster recovery, but you're not really leveraging the true power of the cloud by simply just moving software that was designed to be run on-prem onto a cloud infrastructure. Moving to the cloud and a modern data stack, in my opinion, means reviewing your tools, procuring tools built for the cloud, ones that leverage the ease at which you can add and remove compute, storage, and memory as required to meet the changing workloads in your business. Moving to the modern data stack is not just about SaaS solutions and compute, it's about best fit. A modern data stack, for me, falls very strongly into what I'd call a best of breed procurement, as opposed to the single vendor procurement route. Now, a single vendor option means you are making a compromise somewhere in the data lifecycle. By choosing a modern data stack approach, the main challenge is going to be interoperability, because you're going to be gaining the more focused delivery of a best of breed software at each stage of the data lifecycle. So when looking at your modern data stack, you should look at each of the stages of your data lifecycle. Is it about transporting data? Is it about transforming data? Is it about storage? Is it about the analysis at the end? What is it that you're trying to achieve at each stage of your data lifecycle. Choose the right tool for your business and the way that your business uses data. Now, historically, there was a split. Younger, more agile businesses would opt for the modern data stack. Older enterprise businesses would still prefer the single accountability of a single vendor relationship. Now, this is starting to blur as larger enterprises are looking for that competitive advantage, especially going into a time of recession like we are now. They're going to be looking to compete with these disruptors that have appeared in the marketplace that have been using these modern data stack technologies, and they're going to be looking to leverage it themselves. What we've seen over the last 10 years is partners of Biztory like Tableau going from being a disruptor to being a mainstream BI tool to being a leader in the Gartner Magic Quadrant, and having to understand and deal with very different challenges of providing a data analytics platform to an enterprise customer versus these smaller, more agile, disruptive customers. Now, there's some logos on the screen. This is the preferred modern data stack we have at Biztory. Now, we know that these tools integrate brilliantly. This is why we have chosen them as a collective. There are other tools that sit around this, and choosing the right combination of tools for your business will depend on quite a few variables. Again, talk to a data consultancy and ask us, should I use Tableau? Should I use Snowflake? The answer will be, it depends. They're great tools and they can meet almost all the use cases, but let's understand your very specific use case. So let's go through the next decision point. So what is the platform? So we've understood that we're going to move to a modern data stack. We're going to move our workloads to the cloud. But then what does this platform look like inside a business? So, well, we had our little bit of a mess earlier, our siloed working. It was endemic to the business. Laura had heard of data mesh and data lakes, but did either of them help them fix the siloed data working that they saw? Now, data mesh at first glance doesn't look too dissimilar to the siloed data mesh that Laura encountered at the start of the journey. That's because it's a decentralized approach to data management, where each of the different teams are able to analyze data themselves to answer their basic needs. However, you scratch deeper and what you'll find is that each department now has taken on the stewardship of their data, making sure that data is managed and fed into any other parts of the business that need to use that data in a consumable, safe way with a clean, clear set of definitions. So that sanitized, usable version of the data is now available to the rest of the business. The other part of data mesh is it's based on the principle of microservices. Each data feed and data service, whatever term you want to use, being deployed and deployable completely independently of one another. A purist version of this is what is known as zero copy, essentially leaving the data in the source systems and querying that system. The microservice queries that system, extracts the data, combines the data in the way that has been defined by the mesh, and supplies it to the end users as the need arises. That means that the data is the most up to date and is as close to real time as possible. Now, Laura had also heard about data lakes. What are data lakes? Data lakes, or data lake houses, or data warehouses, or cloud data warehouses, or data clouds. There is so many different names for bringing data together in a cloud-based storage, whether that's relational or not, system. Now, but the main principle of that is that you're bringing all of that data, structured and unstructured, you're bringing it together in a central location, applying that business logic centrally, and supplying data feeds to the various departments and their analytical needs. Now, these two options are pretty opposite in approach. Centralized versus decentralized data management. Now, the choice to go one way or the other will depend on your source system interoperability, the availability within data skills within your distributed teams. Now, there's another term that we hear about called data fabric. It's a more generalized term, and it's actually just about talking about a unified data architecture that uses different technologies and methodologies. The purpose of data fabric is to provide a consistent view of data across the organization, regardless of where it's stored or processed. I personally like this as it allows you to be more flexible in terms of what you choose to implement and in what order, making sure it fits your business needs. Now, I think we just spoke about the purest version or vision of data mesh, the zero copy, querying the data as it's needed. Now, this is not always achievable. The speed of the microservices ability to serve up data for analysis depends on the slowest system providing the data. Over time, SAP offerings are going to have to improve access to the back-end data in terms of the API speed, the number of API calls you can make, the functionality, because otherwise they will become irrelevant. SaaS businesses simply doing a good job at their primary function is becoming less and less the most important thing. Businesses are demanding interoperability, access to their data, and the ability to fit that SaaS tool into their entire stable of SaaS tools that make their business run. To implement mesh properly, we've also said you need people with strong enough data skills in each business unit to prepare and provide the feeds out of their systems. Now, while those skills are hired or grown, it may be in the interim that you have a hybrid environment where the teams that are not yet ready to support mesh fully are supplied by a centralized team, probably an existing centralized team. Over time, delegating that responsibility back out to the distributed teams as they build or hire those skills, slowly but surely distributing those skills across all the teams in your business. Now, that's if you decide that data mesh is for you. If you decide data mesh isn't for you and a centralized controlled cloud database gives you everything you need, then great. We can talk about putting in place a data warehouse in the cloud that achieves all of your data feed needs. Now, what I've drawn here is what that intermediate step might look like. Distributed data stewardship, so you can see our individuals in each team who are our data stewards. But with this hybrid of a self-managed data mesh microservices that are dotted lines going into that web that looks, I've used a spider's web to show mesh because I can't find a good image for mesh anywhere. And a cloud data warehouse to sit on the side of that, just as it's almost like a safety net and to help you in that journey from the known to the future. Now, I want to be clear, I'm not a mesh or cloud data warehouse evangelist. Both have their pros and cons. The decision which route to go would sit with your business. And again, there's a myriad of reasons why you would choose one over the other. And I'm not willing to recommend one on a webinar over the other. Okay, so next stage. Oh, wait, sorry. One last thing. Snowflake. One of the reasons that Snowflake is so important to us at Biztory is as a cloud data warehouse, I believe it's uniquely positioned in terms of its architecture amongst all the cloud data warehouses to actually be able to apply mesh methodologies in a cloud data warehousing solution. Now, again, we don't have time on this webinar to talk about this in real detail, but if you want more information about this, please do either Google Snowflake Data Mesh or contact us and we'll be happy to take you through it. So moving on through our trends, still talking about breaking down and removing these data silos, we're moving on to what I would say is the mirror image of data mesh. So data mesh is about decentralized data management. democratizing and sharing of data is about decentralized data analysis. So let's talk about, on the left-hand side here, we're going to be creating or giving staff access to safe, consumable data feeds, allowing them to analyze and answer their own questions and accelerate time to insight, decision, and action. By making sure that they are safe and secure in their knowledge that the data is good, and safe and secure in their knowledge that they can use the analytical tools that we've provided them to answer their questions, it's the single quickest way for people to buy in to a culture of data in a business. Again, this loops us back to the modern data stack. By choosing the right tools for your business data flows, you can unlock both the left and right-hand sides of this diagram. Deploying a distributed data management on the left ensures the quality of the feeds, and that the people who know the data are the people making it consumable. And on the right-hand side here, democratizing that access to that data or for analysis, putting that data in the hands of the right people with the right knowledge about the problem they're trying to solve and the questions they need to answer to be able to answer those questions, take action on that data, and drive your business forward. But with all this power, with these lovely provided data feeds and these powerful tools to analyze data, with great power comes great responsibility. We must wrap all of these elements in a framework that ensures that the right people have access to the right data at the right time, not all the people have all the data all of the time. Implementing good data governance is essential. It's essential to meet GDPR. It's essential for data security. It's essential for ensuring that your business doesn't lose commercially sensitive information. It's essential to ensure that data is handled correctly and not misused by anyone. Data governance is not new nor sexy, but it should never drop out of the top 10 in terms of trends, because it's essential to the proper functioning of any business that wants to become data-driven. It's also worth covering, data governance isn't just security and access controls. Yes, that's an important part of it, but it's about having processes that control the changes to known and understood data structures. It's about excellent metadata management. It's about knowing the lineage of your data being used to make those decisions. By having all of these under control or in governance, not only are you ensuring the right people, right data, right time, but the data model is both understood and cannot change without clear controls and communication. Again, we're coming back to the data culture, making the staff feel, the business users, the people analyzing the data feel secure in what they're doing. Now, outside of Biztory, I am also a school governor and a non-exec director in the NHS. So it's worth adding, data governance is not an individual sport, it is a team sport. That goes for governance, full stop. It's worth adding, all good governance is about having that team and that committee working together to make sure that all the rules are correct, that they're fit for purpose for all of the business, they don't adversely impact one particular team, they make sure that the rules are adhered to, and they are auditing the adherence to those rules, but also they are communicated. I think the single biggest failure I see in data governance or in governance in general is the communication piece. People put the rules in place brilliantly. People put in place systems and tools to secure data, make sure people can't access it, and also to log when data is accessed and by whom. But what is missing a lot of the time is simply the communication to staff, to the end users, to let them know what they can and can't do, and to warn them if they're likely to break any rules. Again, making them feel safe and secure in their role. Okay, so now Laura has managed to implement the culture of data within their business, has procured and implemented a modern data stack, which has allowed the business to remove the historical data silos while implementing, and this was Laura's decision, a distributed data stewardship model based on a data mesh, and on the journey of implementing data mesh with a cloud data warehouse alongside, plus a democratized data exploration and reporting solution. All of this wrapped in a well-conceived and planned data governance strategy that ensures that data is used responsibly and effectively. But this is just the start. And those of you who are paying attention will notice there's 3 more trends that we've not talked about. What Laura has achieved is to have laid the foundations of a data-driven business. Now what they can do is start pushing the boundaries of traditional uses of data and start looking at novel uses of data and how they can bring real value to their business. Excuse me. The first of these that we're going to look at is data monetization. In a survey by Gartner for CDOs, the response was clear. 43% are already executing a plan on generating revenue from their data system or embedding analytics into their externally facing applications. Furthermore, alongside the revenue stream of selling data, it's also been proven to increase customer stickiness. This is becoming increasingly important in the world of subscription service models. Many companies are evolving towards providing subscription service offerings. Keeping those customers happy and renewing is a key to the success of that business. I've taken some quotes here. This is the first slide where I've actually put some additional words on. These are some quotes taken from a slide deck from Tableau last year. Why do businesses embed data? Why do they look to monetize data? Well, they look to create new revenue, improve operational efficiency, or enhance customer relationships. These are 3 reasons to do this, and all of them will apply to at least one of these, will apply to every business out there. Our second novel use of data, natural language processing. Now, natural language processing is not, again, it's not new. It's been around as a discipline for many years. Think of the early days in predictive text-based based on your prior message writing on your phones. The ever-evolving development of spam filters and email filtering and pre-labeling. If you open up Google Mail or Outlook now, you'll find most of your emails have been filtered into one of the predefined labels or folders. It's either going to be spam or junk or social or offers or any number of these things. This is all from NLP. And of course, those oh so infuriating website bots that just want to talk to you every time. All you want to do is look at a dishwasher and they want to help you. But NLP is taking a little bit of a leap forward in a couple of ways. One, have a look at OpenAI's ChatGPT. There's a lot of buzz around it. I decided to go a little bit meta on this slide and I asked ChatGPT, what is NLP? You'll see its response on the screen. Now, this is why is NLP a trend again now? Well, there's OpenAI's ChatGPT has put NLP front of mind again. But also data exploration tools, so Tableau's Ask Data or ThoughtSpot are embedding NLP into the flow of work for business users who don't want or need to learn how to use analytics tools, giving them a search bar style interface to generate analysis, gain insight, answer their questions, and take action. Helping, say, in Laura's case, helping them get to those last few doubters who do not want to learn the data literacy skills. They don't want to learn how to use the analytical tool. Well, there's the option now of giving them the ability to ask the question and get an answer in a way that is, instead of taking them to the data, we bring the data to them. But why, if it's so prevalent, why am I saying it's an advanced use of data? Because ChatGPT has the whole web to address for its learning. So why am I talking about it here as the second half of this presentation? Well, NLP, the tools that we've just talked about, Tableau and ThoughtSpot, they're looking to link NLP into business data. But this means you've got to train that NLP. You've got to train the tool to be able to answer questions in your data. To really be able to use NLP tools on your business data, you need to have a solid foundations in terms of platform. You also need to make sure that data governance is in place, because then you've got your metadata management sorted out. Without decent metadata management and good data governance and consistent data feeds, the NLP tools don't really work. Without this in place, the maintenance of those tools becomes too costly for you actually to see a return on investment. So for me, whenever we're talking about implementing the NLP search functionality within Tableau, or being asked to look into putting to data engineering to put ThoughtSpot on top, the job actually isn't about the tool, the analytics tool at the end. The job is about the data engineering beforehand. It's about building those data structures, building those pipelines, and building up that metadata, that understanding of the structure of the data and how it can be used. Excuse me. Our third and final novel use of data, artificial intelligence. So a few years ago, there was a perception that artificial intelligence was going to be this generalist intelligence that could just answer questions. You just plug it into data, it just answers questions. Thankfully, I think the perception of this has evolved quite considerably. This myth of a self-teaching generalist intelligence has been dispelled, and the reality of smaller scoped, much more focused projects addressing those boring menial parts of roles where attention drifts and errors happen. The data entry pieces, the data I'm going to move the data from one place to another, or I need to do a calculation over and over again. Starting to explore innovation in the customer journey, understanding how customers interact with your user interface. Starting to explore innovation in your product and services based on that understanding. Finding ways to use AI to automate those processes, those little processes, reduce costs, become more efficient as a business. This is where AI is going now. It's about marginal gains. It's about working on a number of small projects that will fix things that humans are not necessarily best suited to. By getting these marginal gains, you're able to revolutionize the business with data. The image on screen I've chosen is a jigsaw puzzle. In my mind, each of those pieces is an AI project, and as you connect them together, you're overall revolutionizing your business, but not in one big bang way. However, again, why is AI here? The majority of effort in an AI project is in the preparation of the data. Making sure that if you want to make real progress in AI requires you to have the engineering in place, to have that data governance in place, to have that metadata understanding, the data models, the people who own the data feeds, providing clean and consistent data to your AI will give you a much better outcome. Governance around AI is also a really hot topic. Where the boundaries of AI should be, what is ethical versus an unethical use of data, how should it be regulated? Again, having a mature data governance function will allow you to simply absorb the use of AI on your data into those governance processes. The same rules that apply to humans in the use of data should apply to AI. Okay, so to summarize, Laura is still on a journey, but to date, they've successfully implemented a modern data stack in the cloud. They have empowered and enabled the majority of business users to use data using the technology, training, community initiatives, and a well thought out and implemented data governance process. What are they currently doing? Well, they're currently starting to use NLP-driven analysis tools to enable the remaining team members who are not already using data. They're implementing projects to identify data monetization opportunities, and they're hiring a small team of data scientists and AI programmers to start looking for quick wins in operational efficiency within their business. All in all, a pretty successful couple of years. So I'd like to thank you very much for your time and attention. The webinar, you may have realized, was designed to give an idea of a number of topics without going too detailed into any of them. We at Biztory have a plan to do a number of much more detailed webinars upcoming through the year. So please do make sure to register for them. Look out for them, and you'll find we're going to cover a lot of these topics again during the year, but in a very specific, focused webinar. The link to the recording of this webinar will be shared with all of you by email, and I'd like to wish everyone a wonderful rest of the day.